Hi there, today going to learn about how to create your website with responsive behaviors in Wix Studio. So here I am in my Wix Studio website, and then we will explore the different responsive behaviors. For example, for now, we are clicking the section. So let's right click, select a layer, and click our section, and then we have our responsive behaviors right here. So for now, we have our responsive behavior to scale proportionally, and as we can see, when we drag our screen, our section scales proportionally according to the screen of your website. So this is also applicable in the tablet versions of your website and as well as the mobile versions. Take note that when you change something here in the desktop mode, all of its changes will reflect in tablet mode and to mobile. But when you change something here in tablet mode, it will only reflect its changes here on the mobile. And then when you edit some of the responsive behaviors or other settings here in mobile mode, so it will only reflect here on your mobile mode of your website. So just take note that when you're editing something, it always reflects from left to right here from these three types of displays. And then let's proceed again to our responsive behavior. Let's click the section. So we have now presented the scale proportionally. Next is fixed height. So just as its name, it just fixes its height to a specific value but changes its width. For example, I changed the width of this. As we can see, the height doesn't change whenever we change the size of our website. Next is fit to screen. So just as it says, it will fit the whole section across your entire screen if you are using fit to screen. So I'll just move this back to scale proportionally and adjust the height. Now we have the responsive behaviors for text. For text, we have different responsive behaviors such as wrap, fix, hug, custom scale, and scale proportionally. So for scale proportionally, as we can see, I'll just make this bigger. So when we change the size of our website, the text also scales proportionally according to the size of our website. But if we change this into another one, for example, custom scale, so it will just follow the custom scale that you have inserted in your settings. Next is wrap. So what wrap means is that it will wrap over its previous text when you change the size of your website. Right? So right here, as we can see, since our bounding box of our text is here only, so whenever we change the size of our website, it will follow the bounding box. But what will happen is that it will wrap over the other text below its other text right here, as we can see. Next is fix. So just as the name says, it will just fix the height and width of this text bounding box into its specific size. So for example, I changed the width of our desktop, so as we can see, our text just is fixed in its size and doesn't scale depending on the size of our website. And then next is hug. So what hug is that it will show the width of all of your text. So that's why our text became this one horizontal line, because we didn't insert any spacings for it. So for example, I put a spacing for it below, so it will adjust its size to be a 2-row text. But when you have a one line of text, it will just appear as one line of text right here when you are using the hug responsive behavior. And then when I change the size of our website, it will just remain the same. So I'll just change this back into scale proportionally and change the size of this text. So another thing to note, when you are using image and containers, you can have the responsive behavior called relative width, fix, and stretch. So first is stretch. So what it does is that it will stretch over its specific container or its specific section. So you can also do the stretch behavior just by clicking this icon right here. So as we can see, here is our container and our image stretches against that container. And then some other relative behaviors, responsive behaviors, is the relative width. So just as its name says, the width will be changing according to the size of your website, but the height stays the same. For example, I will change the width of our website. The height of our image stays the same, but the width of it changes. So that is what relative width is. Other one is fixed. So just as its name says, it will just be a fixed value for its size whenever you change the size of your website. And then another one is stretch, and we have already covered this earlier. So those are the different responsive behaviors that you need to know in Wix Studio. So you can use them according to the needs of your website, so that whenever you change display modes or change the size of your browser, it will still look the same, or it will look good in your website. And that is it for this video, and thank you for watching.